desperate to find a loving home together are the first children in Britain to appeal for that home by putting their photograph on the internet. The sisters are currently split between two foster families. No one's been prepared to adopt all four of them. The social services hope technology could provide a solution. Beneath the angelic faces are brief descriptions of each of the girls. Katie, the eldest, who's 9, is eager to please and craves physical contact. Jane, who's 8, is a studious girl who enjoys writing and drawing. It says Molly, aged 5, has a bubbly personality. Of the youngest, Sarah, just 2, a heart-wrenching line. She's noticeably happier when they're all together. Derby County Council says it created the website in the best interests of the children and because it's what the girls wanted.
The children are very used to using the internet, and so it's nothing new to them. They had no fears about their pictures appearing on the internet. Certainly wouldn't have happened if they had been concerned.
Americans have been advertising children for adoption on the net for 5 years. And with 100,000 children in Britain waiting to be adopted, it's hard to condemn what some see as distasteful.
It's a risk, but the worst risk perhaps of all is for these children to have no security and family life and for them to be separated from each other. It's a balancing act.
But searching for children on the internet has darker connotations. To protect these kids from the dangers of paedophiles, their names are changed and their addresses kept secret. This evening, Derbyshire County Council says it's already had dozens of genuine offers of new homes for the 4 little girls. Andrea Catherwood, ITN.
One of Africa's most charismatic politicians, Julius Nyerere, has died in a London hospital at the age of 77. He'd been suffering from leukemia, and last week he had a stroke. Mr. Nyerere led Tanzania to independence and served as president from 1962 to 1985. Tony Blair joined the international tributes today, calling him a leading African statesman of his time. The US Senate was widely condemned today for voting against the international treaty to ban the testing of nuclear weapons. The vote is seen as an attempt by Mr. Clinton's opponents in the Republican Party to embarrass the president. Mr. Clinton responded immediately by saying America would ratify the treaty eventually and wouldn't resume nuclear testing. From Washington, here's ITN's James Mates.
The yeas are 48, the nays are 51. The resolution is not agreed to, and the Senate does not advise and consent to the ratification of the treaty.
President Clinton needed a 2/3 majority to get his treaty ratified. In the end, he couldn't even get half the Senate. A central plank of his foreign policy has collapsed, and as many are pointing out, it could make it impossible now to persuade countries like India and Pakistan to end their nuclear testing.
You want to be voting down a treaty on the day that there is a coup in Pakistan. Good luck, folks. Good luck.
President William
3 years ago, Bill Clinton was symbolically the very first to sign the treaty. But he knows that without American ratification, there is no chance of either Russia or China ratifying it. He now promises the treaty will one day be represented to the Senate, but realistically that will have to wait until there is a new president.
This agreement is critical to protecting the American people from the dangers of nuclear war. It is therefore well worth fighting for. And I assure you, the fight is far from over.
The vote does not mean that the US will start testing nuclear weapons again. The administration insists their moratorium will stay in place. But this treaty was not aimed so much at the big 5 nuclear powers. It was designed to stop proliferation, to stop other countries testing and then joining the nuclear club.
As to whether the treaty now has a future, that depends on the outcome of next year's presidential election. If either of the Democrat candidates win, they are likely to try again for ratification. But the Republican George Bush Jr. says he thinks it's a bad treaty. If he wins, it is almost certainly dead. James Mates, ITN, Washington.
Today's games of the Rugby World Cup saw Wales lose out on one record but gain another. They lost to Samoa at the Millennium Stadium to end their unbeaten run of 10 matches, but in the process, the fly-half Neil Jenkins became the highest international point scorer in history. ITN's Peter Staunton reports on that and another record day for New Zealand.
Neil Jenkins steadied himself for his record-breaking kick. He'd done it hundreds of times before. This, one of the easiest of his long career. Yet it turned out to be a day when the 4 he missed cost Wales the match. Welsh cheers were short-lived. Their team threw away a hard-earned lead, handing the Samoans their first try. And then they stood around as the Samoans waltzed through a watching defence. The next came gift-wrapped. The Welsh had lost famously to Western Samoa in the '91 World Cup. Now it really was the whole of Samoa that was piling on the agony. And they saved the best till last. Wales well beaten, but still remarkably leading their group. The Samoans celebrated another victory against the odds. Earlier, New Zealand wound themselves up for another assault on the scoreboard. Jonah Lomu looking for the points which would take him to a World Cup record. He needed 2 tries. The first came as he sneaked in from behind the scrum. The second, an unstoppable run. England's defence had got closer. Not that any of them looked forward to the prospect of getting in his way.
It's the most unpleasant thing I've ever seen on a rugby pitch, because when you see him coming down your channel, you just pray he doesn't get the ball. Or if he does, it's just like, you know.
Italy did stop him once. It took 5 of them. Lomo was clearly enjoying himself.
I just want to go out there and have fun. You know, and that's what rugby's all about. You know, you enjoy it. You know, I enjoy sports, all sports, and I just go out there and do it for the fun of it, and you know, do it with a smile on my face.
At the end, New Zealand had achieved another runaway win, and Lomu was still having fun. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
And confirmation of today's results: New Zealand 101, Italy 3, Wales 31, Samoa 38, Australia 55, United States 19. Canada and Namibia play tonight. Tonight's headlines: former Conservative ministers Michael Heseltine and Kenneth Clarke helped the Prime Minister to launch a new pro-European campaign today. The Britain in Europe campaign aims to explain why Britain has everything to gain from a greater commitment to Europe. And the Halifax and some of the other big mortgage lenders have been criticised by the Consumers Association. It says many customers are unhappy with the penalties they have to pay. And finally, football fever is already beginning to infect Glasgow after yesterday's news that Scotland will meet England in the Euro 2000 playoffs. There's still a whole month to go, of course, before the first match at Hampden Park in Glasgow, but tickets are being printed and souvenirs are already hitting the streets. From Glasgow, ITN's Linda Kennedy has this report.
On Scotland's front pages, there was only football today and a rather cruel attack on Kevin Keegan. For overconfidence, England will beat the Scots. North of the border, that's not the view. At Hampden, the Scottish FA and police have already met officials to plan the most anticipated match in years.
You can't phone in or out because the phones are jam-packed with fans phoning up for tickets. We have that problem, the SFA have that problem. Yeah, there's an excellent buzz about the stadium now.
And it's only just started to build. It's right here in the heart of the stadium where the Scotland team will be getting ready for the crunch match. In the tunnel, they'll meet up with their English opponents, and together all the players will walk out of this door and emerge into the stadium proper, where 52,000 excited fans will be waiting. And to make sure all the home supporters are waving the flag, this Glasgow company is stepping up production for the next month.
We'll be making all Scottish line ramping and the St Andrew's Cross, and hopefully selling a lot of flags.
The bookies favour England, but few here accept that. Most fans say Scotland can win, against all odds. Linda Kennedy, ITN, Glasgow.
That's it. Next from ITN tonight is the ITV Nightly News with Katie Derham at 11. We're back tomorrow, but we leave you now with the main images of the day. From all of us here, goodbye.
It's right to make the case again for Britain in Europe.
Our view is that this industry has a completely rip-off mentality.
Hello, good evening. High pressure is still in charge with our weather, with sunny skies for the south today, cloudy skies for the north. This is the way that cloud worked out, as indicated by our Met Office satellite sequence. Some breaks then the northwest of Scotland, but the best of the sunshine definitely reserved for the south. So tonight that cloud's thick enough for eastern fringes of Scotland as well as England to give some spots of light rain. And then we've more patchy rain down there to the southwest. Elsewhere, some mist patches floating around. So with a thicker cloud, temperatures are maintained tonight in places like Newcastle and York. 10 is 50 in York and fairly mild for the time of year, whereas Exeter in direct contrast sees a very, very chilly 4 degrees. Now, as far as tomorrow goes, where we see those temperatures maintained overnight, that's certainly not the case. There's a chilly feel to things in places like Aberdeen. 13 is 55, so pegged back there, whereas Cardiff sees a pleasant 16, 61 in Fahrenheit, with some sunshine around. Now, we go into tomorrow morning, a lot of cloud around, the best of the breaks for Northern Ireland as well as Western Scotland, some sunshine there. But let's focus on this patchy rain down to the southwest. Now, during the course of the day, this heads ever northeastwards, getting into South Wales by the end of the day. So now a quick look ahead, and we've still got high pressure on our doorsteps for the weekend, but more importantly there's a niggling weather front up to the northwest. So in terms of actual weather, that means cloudy skies for eastern fringes, the best of the sunshine always to the west, but some spots of rain for the very far northwest. And our temperatures on the whole maintained between round about the 13 to 15 mark, windy in the southwest. And that's about the sum of it on the weather front.
Power Gen. Power, whatever the weather.
Tomorrow on GMTV, Fergie at 40 and never looking better. On the Duchess of York's birthday, we speak live to her father, Major Ronald Ferguson. Her first 40 years, her future and his hopes for a reconciliation between her and Prince Andrew. Live tomorrow on GMTV.
Two gardens on the brink of stardom. Two families on the verge of tears.
Wow. Oh, wow.
The Mediterranean arrives in Yorkshire, courtesy of Carol Vorderman, making your home a better home. Friday at 8:30 on ITV.
So will Mandy and Paddy be allowed to continue with their wedding? Emmerdale follows the break.
At Comet, we're lowering our prices. Forever. We've started by lowering the price of over 300 top products.
And as we continuously check over 15,000 prices every week, we can guarantee that the Comet price will always be low.
So, we won't need these anymore?
Lowering our prices forever?
That's common sense!
There's now a Baker's Complete. With fish?
Good news for those with a taste for the finer things. All new Mars Dark and Gold. Bite! Fluffy golden nougat, smooth caramel, and deeply dark chocolate. Bite!
Mike doesn't know I'm expecting another baby this morning.
Now you tell me.
Meet my daytime family. It's like a zoo in here at meal times.
Well, after I've cleaned up, I give my fabrics a good spray with Febreze antibac. It kills the bacteria that causes the smell, so they soon smell clean and fresh again.
Ready for when they have their afternoon nap. Ah, back from the land of Nod, I see. Well, I can't wash this mattress every day, so I spray it with Febreze antibac.
It zaps the smells and kills the bacteria that cause them.
Bye-bye. Here, you'll need this.
New Febreze Antibac gets rid of the bacteria that cause smells on fabrics.
You can never properly house train them, can you?
This is the new battery-powered Colgate Actibrush. It's proven to clean better than an ordinary toothbrush. Its small head is designed for those hard-to-reach places. It oscillates around 75 times a second. That's over 2,000 times by the end of this commercial, which is nearly a whole week of ordinary brushing. The new Colgate Actibrush. It's simply a better clean.
I had always hoped to see this in my lifetime.
I have been wondering about the mysteries of the universe since I was a child. Yet, looking at the beauty of these things still fills me with wonder. For me, physics is about seeing further, better, and deeper. And from here, I can see forever. My eyesight means a lot to me.
You'll love the sound of Netto prices. After 8 minutes, only 99p. Netto, Scandinavian for value.
The Broadcasting Standards Commission is an independent body which deals with complaints about any television or radio programme or advertisement concerning the portrayal of violence, the portrayal of sexual activity and matters of taste and decency, including bad language. You can also complain to the Broadcasting Standards Commission if you feel you've been unfairly treated or your privacy has been unwarrantably infringed in a programme. If you have a complaint, then you should write to the Broadcasting Standards Commission, 7 The Sanctuary, London SW1P 3JS. Further information can be found on the Commission's website at www.bsc.org.uk. Getting our Thursday evening underway here on Carlton now, it's Emmerdale.
Take no notice. Take no notice. They're arresting you.
I realise it's probably not the most convenient moment.
Come on, Vicar. Tell him what's next.
Within the love of God, Father, Son and Holy Spirit.
What are you waiting for? Arrest her! Bug off! Come on, Ashley, get your skates on.